Hello, my name is Kennedy Brown. I'm the moderator for this panel. I'm a student at Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'm also the director of professional development for Temple's Entrepreneurial Student Association. I want to introduce you guys to our wonderful panelists. All right, we are joined with EJ, the founder of Swim in 12. He's developed an innovative swim program that will have you swimming in 12 hours. He's an incredible leader and an entrepreneur who has helped many entrepreneurs start their businesses. And if anyone is tuned in from an Intel laptop, that's amazing. We have Vanita Jain, the director of product management and marketing at Intel Corporation. She's also the co-founder of Decilia, an e-commerce marketing business. Hello, you guys.
Hi, Kennedy.
Hello. Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you, guys. So, our topic is all about innovation. It's an essential part of maintaining a business. As an entrepreneur, you're going to get that question: what makes your business stand out? What differentiates you from the competitors? So, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's address how to find opportunities for innovation and how to use AI in your business and more. So, my first question for you guys is, how do I identify opportunities for innovation? Maybe I'm working in a company and it's my job to come up with a new idea to drive, to get new customers. Or maybe I just want to be an entrepreneur. I'm having a hard time finding that need. Where can I start?
All right, so I can maybe start first. Hello, everyone. I'm Vinita Jain, and I'm thrilled to be here today as a part of this exciting panel on AI for innovation. With over 16 years in the field of cutting edge technology, I have had the privilege of working on diverse projects that harness the power of technology to drive innovation in both semiconductor world at Intel and also more recently in the e-commerce world with my Decilia venture. So currently I manage Thunderbolt products at Intel and e-commerce platform for curated Indian products as well on my own. Both like I'm passionate about exploring the technology and how it reshapes the industries and creates the basically the solutions that are most pressing for like whatever the upcoming new challenges and all. So very excited to be here. As for like the entrepreneurs, how do you basically utilize the power of AI in finding the opportunities? Basically, entrepreneurs should begin with identifying the clear use cases where AI can solve a specific business problem or enhance their existing processes. Um, and one of the biggest challenge that the entrepreneurs are going to face, and including myself, I do face that challenge as well, is the required data. Because for anything that AI can power, AI systems require data to learn and make predictions. So they need, and as entrepreneurs, we need to ensure that we have access to high quality data, relevant data that can be organized in a way that these systems or like applications, the AI powered applications can actually utilize. So that would be one of the things that you need to look at. And then yeah, I start with something pilot, like start as a pilot project on something before going full scale. Understand the clarity on the ROI for what you're doing. So AI is not just about the hype and that everybody needs to get onto it. It's about ultimately your business and how it's going to be benefited by it.
Lovely. Um, Thank you for sharing, Vinita. My name is EJ. I'm the founder of Swim in 12 Swimming School. So basically, we run a swimming school in Malaysia and India. And we've also incubated a few business owners running team building companies, lifeguard companies, and even a restaurant as well. So how do we bring, just now your question was, how do we bring innovation to the company as an employee? So basically, I would say if you're thinking about innovation, I would say dare to fail, dare to propose, And when you propose something, try to ask for more feedback in what are things that can improve uh, the proposal. And usually when we propose something, it's like not complete. So as when we are proposing something that's not complete, then we need more questions. So how do I complete it? What are things I'm still missing? What are things that I'm still not considering? I think from there with good questions, your ideas will be start to be more accepted. And from there, as your ideas get more accepted, you start to make a difference in.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think what really stuck out to me was asking good questions, um, and proposing and asking good questions. Would so EJ, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs who are passionate about their innovative ideas, their proposals, but they may face initial skepticism or resistance from the market?
Definitely at the beginning, nobody hits the jackpot that easily. Usually, it's a lot of trial and error, and I think I would expect for me to fail like 90% of the time. So with the expectation, whatever you're trying, you still take it lightly, while at the same time keep looking for solutions. Um, as we are trying at when we are trying something new, definitely it's usually ridiculous. Somebody say, "Hey, that's not making money, that's not viable, that's not long term." So you would want to hear like why do they think it's not long term? For example, when I was starting to teach swimming, I think a lot of my close friends and family were advising, say, how much can you make in teaching swimming? Teaching swimming is not sustainable. You can't even pay for your house and all these things. So at the beginning, I think I just want to ask why do you think it's not sustainable? Like someone said, people will need to travel to your place, so you only get customers that's near you. People are very price sensitive, and how much can you innovate in swimming? Swimming is just swimming, right? So I think from there I start to say, oh, there's a lot of misconception. There's a lot of things that need to be educated to the public to differentiate between like for some people, definition of swimming is swimming from one end to the other end, even it's like very tiring and it's not sustainable. So I would redefine swimming. It's being able to control the water, not just being able to float, sing, going front, back, left, right. So people say, that's swimming. All right. So we have to redefine what it is from the questions that people have, from the resistance that people have. The more resistant you have, the more feel it is to help you to, more bullet it is for you to keep looking into the serious things that you actually have to work on in order to make it successful.
Yes, thank you. So I heard, there's going to be failure involved when you're trying new things. Vanita, can you please speak to implementing ideas in a bigger corporation versus a smaller corporation, the kind of challenges with that and the differences between being able to try new things in each environment?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, bigger corporations versus like, the smaller startups. Right now, I'm in like both of them at the same time, pretty much, working at Intel as the decision making process or like the incorporating the new directions is it's quite different. As in, while the big companies, and the company culture, the company size, the structure, everything plays the role, and as well as the risk tolerance. So I would say there is a difference between the speed and the flexibility that a startup can have versus a large company. The decision making in a startup could be very fast and more flexible. There will be fewer layers of management and less bureaucracy. So startups can quickly pivot and adapt to the new ideas. But as a large company, we often have the established procedures and processes in place. So there are protocols that can sometimes slow down the decision making, but there are a lot of the approvals for everything that you require. There is startups often are okay with a high risk environment, so there is a greater willingness to experiment and probably fail fast as such if needed be. But as a large company, they prefer to make the decisions that protect their established market and existing product lines. So basically they have more of like, the responsibility to answer their stakeholders, and so everything goes with that, basically the process that is set to absorb such risks as much as needed. Resources wise also, like, while big companies have generally a lot more resources allocated to the new initiatives and all, but the startups have to work with the minimal of the budgets, and so they are more scrappy, and they are more like, like try and go kind of mindset. Yeah, so I would say those are a few contrasts of how large companies operate versus the startups. Being working in both these environments, it's like I have much of an appreciation for the set processes that are in place for Intel, because that allows me to, like, give that bigger perspective. Like, once the company grows to that level, the processes grow with it and are required to operate in such big size. But at the startup, it gives me like more agility and flexibility and speed to exercise the scrappiness that is needed there.
I used to work for IBM, very similar to Intel. They have a lot of processes, a lot of red tapes, but mainly it's because when you're bigger, people want to sue you because you're on the radar. But when you're smaller, people, you're not even on the radar. Nobody cares what you do. So as you build, you can take a lot of risks. So at the end of the day, I think it's like when you're bigger, definitely try not to get sued is something to think about. But end of the day, there is a lot of creative ways we can look into it as well. Because I used to work for this ASEAN region where we're taking care of 6 countries, and IBM is just very standard in our marketing guidelines. Like your logo must be in this size, this shape, this color, with this white space. Because everything's like fixed, right? But then some countries actually do take risks, like creating some very cute mascot, but instead of linking it with the brand, they link it with the event. So there's always so many ways to innovate across, even if we are a corporate. I think it's just whether you have a boss that's willing to take that risk. And I think we also have to keep improving our persuasion skills, because when you persuade him, he needs to persuade his boss as well. So your points have to be protecting both the company's interest and also trying something new to help you.
Yes. So I think I like one of the ways you can maybe get an idea across is getting good at your persuading skills as well. Like maybe they didn't want to implement the idea because you didn't get it across effectively. That's something to keep in mind. So I really like that idea. Something you said, Vinita, about failing fast. You're obviously have more flexibility to do that. There's less risk in a startup type of company. But what do we learn from failure? How can we grow from it in our work? And can you just expand a little bit more on failing fast and why it's important?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, handling the failures and the setbacks in a constructive manner is crucial for any innovation process. Because you so when we are like innovating on something new, brings there are a lot of multiple perspectives, multiple ideas, multiple ways to get there. How do you know which one is the right way? You don't. More often than not, you don't, because if it was so apparent, it would have been already done. So the fail fast approach, or like is basically identifying that pilot team, or like a minimum viable product, or whatever it is, like small experiments, small steps that you define for yourself to like get there faster, to know whether it's going to work or not. So if it is, we are on the right track, and if it doesn't, then we know it fast, rather than spending a couple of years or wasting your time and resources for too long out there. But knowing it quickly and pivoting or changing your direction or finding a different path for yourself. So that's the idea behind fail fast. But the process involved is basically identifying, analyzing, and basically identifying your steps, clear ROIs. What is your, like, what do you call your hypothesis behind something, like, and then test, like how you're going to test it, whether it's going to work or not, what's those minimum metrics that you're going to measure, and for how long you're going to test it out, and what will be the clear success matrix, like what defines success versus failure. So having those kind of small experiments designed to quickly analyze, do something, analyze and learn. And then the whole mindset of the team has to be around that experimentation, and fail fast is not bad. Basically, it's a part of the process. So you are rewarding, you're celebrating the effort, you are reframing the failure into the learnings that came, and that define your next steps, that define your following solution that eventually leads to your success. So a lot of like reflection, learning, iteration, adaptation goes into this process. So the journey to success is actually iterative overall. And you're fine, you're robust, you are resilient to any sort of failures. You're bouncing back fast and from any setbacks, and changing your course or taking the course that takes you next to where it does.
Great. And I don't know, I saw you nod along a little bit there, EJ. I don't know if you had anything to add to that, but if not, I have another question. But if you had anything to add, I want to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, let's go for the next question.
All right. So EJ, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Swim in 12, because you guys have created a program that, accelerates the speed of learning how to swim. You put in a lot of different innovative factors into your programming. Like one of them I love, for example, was the no touch policy, kind of for adults, making women feel more comfortable. So how did you develop this plan? How did you go about it? Was it a lot of trial and error? I'm guessing there's a lot of research that went into it.
I think that was founded by accident, because I wanted to. I was thinking, what if one day I got paralyzed and I cannot teach anymore? So it's something that I hope to continue doing, because I really enjoy teaching swimming. So I was thinking, how can I teach when I'm not in the water? So I started developing better choice of words, better demonstration. As I do demonstration, I keep thinking, can I just record that? So one day, if I'm paralyzed on a wheelchair above water, can I still show a video and still guide them? Can I one day maybe build an AI system to help me teach better? So I think a lot of things when I'm doing it, I'm constantly thinking about the next level. And how do we get that? Eventually, this whole invention, it was an accident, because as I just wanted to continue teaching, this thing actually became very popular among our Muslim market. Because in Malaysia, a majority of our students are Muslims. Then it's touch between different genders is very sensitive. Then I realized a lot of people from pageants and models, they are also very sensitive to these things. So eventually I created an accidental market, an accidental unique selling point. I think very similar to the sticky note story. Most of the time innovations come by accident, but we just have to keep trying something new that's not.
Yes, that is so many, just, yeah, like you said, many innovations come by accident. And I think that's really amazing point to bring up. So I want to talk about Vanita. I think, well, honestly, both Vanita and EJ, you both have a really big emphasis on teamwork in your careers. You guys are both leaders of teams, and you guys have led teams, huge teams. So how do you kind of create a environment for creativity and innovation in your teams that you work with?
Maybe you can go first. For me is creating a platform to fail. allowing people to fail as long as within our affordability, and we celebrate failures. Sometimes when somebody does uh, something wrong, a mistake for the first time, it's actually a good thing. So nowadays, when I see people failing, that means they're actually doing things out of their comfort zone, trying something new. So usually I would praise them instead of, oh, why do you do this wrong again? So usually we complete that, hey, you're doing a great job. You're actually experimenting new things. That's why you're failing more. So most people will stick to doing things that they're familiar with. So I think creating more encouragement to fail as long as within affordability, and also knowing what's our long-term strategy. So very often business sales goes up and down, right? So when it goes up and down, when it goes down, sometimes branch managers will get a bit desperate and say, maybe is it a promotion thing? Is it a price thing? Should we lower down price? Should we become a promotion? So the long-term strategy here is to be like a luxury brand for swimming lessons. So we don't do discounts. So even during the toughest time, I have to hold the fort and say, even if it's downtime, we don't do promotions. We don't drop our prices. Our price only increase. And in fact, we were very daring in this 14 years of business. We've increased our price 17 times. So we're very daring because every time when we keep innovating new ways, creating new values, teaching a lot faster, we dare to just keep increasing our price. So that's a long-term strategy. So sometimes certain strategy is like there's a line that we draw that we cannot let people experiment, and we must explain the why. Every time, a lot of time when business owners don't have the time to explain why, they say no, don't do this. Then people will, the employees will feel, maybe my idea is just not that good. Maybe I shouldn't just propose, because every time I propose, I just get rejected. So a lot of times, taking time to explain the why, and also different stages in. When I was a smaller company, maybe like 10 to 30 staff, I can explain to each and everyone. I can have a one-to-one. But now as a team become like 100 employees and more, right? So now we have to think about broadcasting. Every time somebody asks me a very good question, I answer them. I try to either put it in my own WhatsApp group if it's confidential, or I just put it in public, just share in my social media. So most of the times you see things in my social media sharing, it's usually some employees asking me certain quick questions. Then just, if I think other people can learn from it, I just post it. In different stages, we got to communicate that differently.
Yeah, and likewise, having that those open channels of communication, like how EJ was referring to, is important even in a large company like Intel, where fostering the environment that encourages the nurtures the innovation involves lot more culture oriented change, leading by example, creating the processes in place. We like at Intel, we have a dedicated innovation team also that is set up to basically have the task forces that define the groups that come together to help vet the ideas and create like these 3 months or so of the innovation teams that are dedicated to working and fostering those ideas into developing them into the prototypes and testing them out in the real market. So just like a VC kind of environment that Intel sets aside for driving innovation, so that while the mature businesses are continuing to be the bread and butter for the company, there are always there is room for fostering these new ideas and developing them for continued innovation into the future. We have the prototypes and the pilots that run and are tested in the real world scenarios and help demonstrate the potential impact of those ideas before they are taken into the mainstream for the business. And then, like EJ was also mentioning, there's a feedback loop where the ideas that are not not only just like the successful ideas, but whatever are the ones that didn't make it through, are also like, how do you improve them, how do you work on them, or what worked, what didn't work, what lessons were learned, measuring the impact, and continuing with the communication of the success of the effort of the learning as well, and not just the outcome. So as a leader in such environment, our role is to like facilitate these processes, break down the barriers that might stifle the innovation, and advocate for like the best ideas so that they receive the attention and the funding that they deserve. So basically, it's about creating the balance ecosystem where you continue to drive through your established goals and projects, but also continue to incrementally improve and innovate to flourish, basically, overall.
Yes. So I'm hearing, Intel has more of that structure in place, that dedicated innovation team, but and EJ is kind of more mindset. You both are more about mindset and culture, but I think it's just important to bring up. I hear a lot of leaving space for failure, leaving space to grow. Um, I think it's important because, like, as an entrepreneur, you may be working with yourself. That imposter syndrome, getting down on yourself, um, can prohibit innovation from happening before you even start. So I like to bring that up and keep that in mind. Now, I would like to move on to the pandemic topic. I think every business owner has a story about the pandemic. It was a hard time for a lot of businesses. EJ, I'm sure swimming lessons weren't on the top of people's list back during the pandemic, but you're still here. So, what take me back to the pandemic? How did it kind of affect your business, maybe in a good way or a bad way, and how you had to adapt?
So for me, I think I started by exploring trends overseas. I was doing my own Excel sheet, charting my own um, data on how many cases are there every day, how long does it take for a country to go into lockdown. Very lucky Malaysia wasn't the first one, so we had data from China, from US, from I think at that time of Spain as well. So when there's this kind of data, I started to realize I think our country will go into a lockdown as well. So 2 weeks before the announcement of the lockdown, we already told our team members to be ready. So I think information is very important. We also have my current CEO. She used to be a coach. She used to work for international British school. So from there, there's also a lot of information about like schools closing down around the world and how long are they closing for. So with more and more information, we're able to make better decisions to tell people to save up and predict that when the government says it's going to close for 2 weeks. It's not just 2 weeks; it's going to be a while. So we prepared for like we prepared for like 3 months of that. So what happened was I decided to create a project that I used to have in mind where I wanted to turn our swimming lessons into more science-based. I hope to create like a science fair for swimming, where people keep talking about the concepts and the philosophies and the physics of swimming. How does it apply to the real world? So within 10 days, we launched our online exercise program. At that time, people were thinking, hey, this is crazy. What do you need it? 10 days. It's 14 days, we're going to open again, right? So I said, no,
Okay,
we just launch this. Yeah.
I just want to say one thing to make sure people are. Your company is based out of Malaysia, just to give people some context about kind of where we were in the world. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So when it's 10 days, we launch it, and it was very funny thing is a lot of parents are accepting it and they are giving us a lot of feedback and we keep try and error and eventually we came up with a program of online exercise for those who are competitive so they continue being fit and for those who are just learning for beginners we create swim science program learn how to understand the physics of science. So for example when we're talking about swimming you have to keep our hands straight, right? So usually we just tell the student keep your hands straight, you swim faster. But now, doing it online, we can say things like, why do we keep our hands straight? Look at the shape of our hands. What other shape is designed this way? Airplane, rocket, boats. So it's shaped this way, that's why there's better aerodynamics, there's better hydrodynamics. So from there, that's why you swim this way. So from there, we get kids to build their own boats as well. So we talk about oxygen, and we talk about oxygen, more air will float, less air will sink. In the real world, what applies this kind of concept as well. Okay, that's submarine. Submarine also uses the same thing. They get kids to build submarine. And in Malaysia, our public speaking skills are not that strong yet. So we implement this submarine building project plus presenting your idea. Hey, why this submarine is so good? So that helps a lot of people to improve their public speaking as well, to not be shy and camera and submit their videos and gain some prizes. So that created a lot of noise. And that was like something that even in distributing it was ridiculous. We was like, hey, 2 weeks we can open. Then 2 weeks it closed again, and 2 weeks it closed again. So that we were
2 weeks
ahead of
turned
the
into
curve.
2 years,
Yeah, another 2 years.
3
And we
years.
also look for other schools. We work with a leadership school called Ahan Kids. So basically, we say, hey, let's just do something fun to entertain the kids. Let's just learn a dance. I think that time was like some TikTok dance, Mamma Mia. So we dance together with the kids and do some competition and get the parents to work. So it created a lot of fun during the pandemic. When people are still not that stressed about it, but they still feel at least there's some entertainment at home. So there's a lot of things that we keep doing, and eventually, one of the things we did was we helped teach other swimming schools how to do what we do, and we actually teach it for free. So from there, that was a very surprising thing. But the industry is like, hey, why are you helping me? I'm your competitor. But we just do it, and they expect after the webinar there's something to sell, and we really have nothing to sell. It's just genuinely teaching. So when the time comes, we gather a lot of swimming schools together into a WhatsApp group. Um, and from there, we created our campaigns together to talk to the government to encourage the government to open it for us. So every time the government opens for something else, opens for the night market, opens for the barber shop, opens for the gym, hey, think about us, we are swimming. we are so important, you know. So eventually, because of our initiative as a group, because of unity, we actually got the government to open for us to allow us to proceed what we do for all three lockdowns, all three open for us. So that actually made us into becoming a very popular swim school, because that's where people think, oh, because of you, because of the effort of your coordination, we get to open and make a living and continue. So there's lesser swimming school that closed down in the pandemic. So I think this is something that sometimes when people are afraid, that's the time to be brave. And also the opposite, when people are brave, is also have to be more cautious as well. So I think this is something that we can think about during difficult times.
Wow. I want to point out how you sold your programming to your competitors. I think a lot, not so, you taught other people. I think a lot of the time we can be pretty competitive. It can seem kind of cutthroat in business, but you shared your information with the community, which resulted in growing something bigger and better and connecting with more people. So I did just want to highlight that, kind of the power of collaboration in a way. But Benita, please, can you share your pandemic experience?
Yeah, and I have to like applaud what EJ just shared about like a swimming business would have been the hardest to sustain during the pandemic. I like beyond my computer and e-commerce and like this world that all like more or less can sustain over online, but like thinking about business like swimming, kudos to you and how you dealt with it. Super super inspired by hearing your story there. Yeah, as for Intel, in the this as a business faced a lot of interruptions, like like all other companies. So I'm not speaking just on behalf of Intel, but in general, like as the pandemic started, like we started facing earlier. Initially, it's about health and safety concerns. So the employees. There were a lot of protocols that we had to follow. People mostly started working from home when there was actually no infrastructure in place to run that so smoothly. For example, like I remember working prior to pandemic, and not even like it wasn't easy to take one day off to work from home if ever needed, because it was just like the face to face valued so much, and being in the campus mattered so much. And then we sustained it for 3 years, like, and continuing to go do so. So of course the overcoming that through all the digital transformation that happened in the backgrounds during the pandemic at a very very fast pace, the shifting to online, like online meetings, adopting all the cloud technologies and the security, and enhancing the platforms for like virtual the VPNs and all. So the remote working became smooth. But yeah, initially there were so many challenges, like in just working safety of the employees, the revenue and the supply chain disruption that came in with the pandemic lockdowns and the transportation restrictions and all, resulting in reduced consumer spending, the job losses that followed later on, posed a lot of these challenges for Intel and for all other businesses as well. And then basically slow resurrection from pandemic with our transformations through digital, on so many online apps that came up during that process that now everybody is taking for granted, the Zooms and the G Meets and all. But at that time, we were all getting used to it. The remote working solutions have become much more robust and strong now. We have come up with a lot of new innovations that have reduced the expenses. So Intel has gone through lots of cost reductions and cost that came out of the pandemic. Okay, why do we need so many buildings in first place? Or there are a lot of other things that we just spent on without thinking, and that gave an opportunity to review the expenses and cut the spending where it's not needed, as well as a renewed focus on customer experience actually as well. Like we revamped a lot of our processes to make it more smooth for customers to experience their online purchases or virtual services, etc. So I think a lot that came out that pandemic taught us in the process and made the improvements and the optimizations, room for innovation that we all exercised at a much more fast and accelerated pace to come out of pandemic even stronger than where we were before.
Yes. Yes, because the pandemic was a struggle for a lot of people, but you hear all the time, people's new entrepreneurs, what inspired you? Oh, it was a pandemic project. So there was a lot of innovation and changes that came out of the pandemic, especially you brought up remote work. Now it's like people are like, I don't want to go into the office. I can do it from home. But yes. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was how long it actually takes. So, we have our idea, we're pitching our ideas, the realities of how long it takes to get a project done, smaller projects versus longer projects. I remember EJ, you were saying something. I watched an interview. You were like, I got into entrepreneurship for the wrong reasons. I thought it was going to be quick, easy, and I was going to work less. And you end up working more. So just so that our young entrepreneurs can have some realistic expectations about how long projects take and the realities of how long it actually takes to implement a new change in a company. Maybe share a story or something.
Okay. For me, I think there's always both long-term and short-term projects. Long-term projects are like improving our customer experience. This is a never-ending thing. Improving how we teach swimming. This is never-ending thing. But there's always small projects that we start something small. For example, when we do blood donation campaign, when we do ocean awareness, this thing takes like 2-3 weeks to plan. At the beginning, it takes months to plan. But over time, we build a system where people need to create trackers, people need to create a handover to the next leaders. So then this year's president will be the next year's advisor. When we put all these things in place, the project takes shorter and shorter time. One of our signature programs is Sports Day. So Sports Day is our biggest swimming competition event that we create a lot of fun. And every year we raise more and more money to create better infrastructures. Now we even have a cool DJ doing the set as well during the competition. We evolved to having kids doing the MC, and we have like 10-year-old kids emceeing our events. So there's a lot of fun things that we keep doing. And I think to start our team is always to start with the small events. As they get better at small things, they give them medium opportunity. They do well in the medium opportunity, then give them bigger opportunity. So very, very often events is one of the small projects that help me see who are the good leaders, who are the good team players, who are patient, who's ready, who's strategic for the next level. That's why now we've built a few entrepreneurs. And one of them is a millionaire now, running multi-million-dollar business, almost going to be as big as my swim school now. And that $1 million started during the pandemic. It was doing a team building where we did archery type. We used archery to like shoot each other like Robin Hood. Then eventually evolved to online team building. And one of our clients was like Facebook and Google all the way in the US. And we're like really cheap. In US it could be like less than 10 US dollars, but for us it's big money. It's like 40 ringgit, 50 ringgit. So this is a lot of ways that we can think about. Like how do we create small projects to help people become the next one, and when they become the next level, we can actually even turn them into experience. I think a lot of business owners want to see their employees succeed, but they must start with the smallest first.
Yeah, totally. Like, the project timelines would vary according to the scope, complexity, the resources, and the processes involved. For smaller companies, small projects are actually more worthwhile. Like, there will be long projects, but broken down into smaller milestones and driven by smaller outcome, like stepping stones. That would be like your small projects, but it could in a small project could be something like a minor like an update to a product or a marketing campaign or a process improvement that you're doing, which could last from a few days to a few months. If there is more like basically implementing a new software or rebranding your product or launching a new product line, could be like months to almost a year sometimes, and would require more cross-functional teams involved in there, and more dedicated, like a project manager would be needed probably. And that's how we'll tackle those. And then of course there would be more longer term, like an organizational overhaul, or constructing a new facility or developing a new complex software. Then those will be very long term goal projects that would require more of a stakeholder alignment, management, risk analysis, and dedicated program office probably project for managing such projects. So the key would be like, you do all those assessments, important, set realistic goals, and basically those goals should motivate your team, ensure proper allocation of resources, and ultimately I would say lead, basically have a strategic planning as well as operational executional skills on your team to execute to those goals, driven by whatever is your scope, and you and how you would manage it, like the management process that you've set up for the project.
Okay. So just hearing from the whole conversation, there's always obviously a big difference between startup culture and bigger company culture. So hopefully, the viewers listening, you can kind of hear the differences and see which type of business you would like to start in, because there's a big difference in both benefits. Seem like a little more freedom in startups and whatnot. But we started this conversation with AI discussion a little bit, and I kind of want to circle back to it because AI has just exploded over the year, and I know it's going to be a big change in the world continuing on. So I just want to get specific about how AI shows up in your business. Do you utilize AI in your business, and if so, how?
I want to go first.
So yeah, we actively utilize AI in our business operations. So I'll speak more about Decilia. As for Intel, of course, I can talk about that as well. So given the dynamic nature of the e-commerce and the fast-moving consumer goods industry that the Decilia is in, we find that AI can help us stay ahead by driving the efficiency, innovation, and enhancing the customer experience. So, for example, in our e-commerce platform at Decilia, we are working to employ AI-driven recommendation engines that can personalize our customer experience. We are also behind the scenes working towards leveraging AI for inventory management, by forecasting our demands and with better accuracy. So, like, we don't waste so much, like by accruing more inventory. And then, because these have a shelf life, these products have a shelf life. And so, if our inventory management is smarter, then we can save a lot of basically losses in of the goods in the process. And also, like, we have a chatbot on our platform, which right now is manually driven, but we are working towards enabling it by AI. So that way we save on our human resources, but also offer more instantaneous responses for our customers. Yeah, so this is overall basically driven by better customer experience and optimizing our resources as a small company. And as for Intel, I would say AI is at the heart of our innovation strategy at Intel. So there are different, basically, departments that are exploring AI in the data centers, in the client systems, and the edge devices. We are excited about the potential of AI in emerging applications, like augmented reality, and AI-driven sustainability initiatives, etc. So the transformative power of AI is reshaping our entire world, our entire industry. And I think, as Intel and as well as a tech person, basically, I'm super committed to the leveraging the potential towards the business, both responsibly and creatively.
For me, as a swim school, AI is one of the best thing that's ever created. I feel it's like the next thing. It's like internet has been created. When internet was invented, our calculator is invented. People are using abacus at the time, and to get people to switch from an abacus into a calculator, it's a really hard thing. For people to get used to computer is a hard thing. Get used to internet is a hard thing. I think those days a system called surfing the web. Why is it surfing the web? Because you don't know what you get. When it's new, you're just browsing, searching for things, just trying it out and error. Sometimes you hit a good wave, sometimes you don't hit a good wave of information. So nowadays it's the same for AI. Start surfing AI. Because as you surf, you're experimenting with different prompts. I think nowadays the quality of the prompt is very, very important. If we ask simple questions, we will get simple answers. If we get to ask very specific questions, we will be amazed of how intelligent this thing really is. So for myself, I use it for proposals. Let's say we're working with Speedo. So when we're thinking about Speedo proposals for them, instead of thinking on my own, every time I get stuck with ideas, I just ask ChatGPT on better quality of proposals, and from there I can edit, and that's a lot very helpful for me. Same for our leaders. Then for people in our administrative and customer service side, we hire a lot of people who just graduated high school, who may not have a college degree. Their English may not be that good, or they are more Mandarin speaking oriented. So they have limited English. And usually when they reply, as a luxury swimming school, they reply in a way where it's not so high end. It kind of like makes you feel, hey, is the price right? Yeah, I like your swimming coach, but then the customer service seems very different. So nowadays they start to use ChatGPT to either put it in Mandarin and churn out the English words for it, or put it in a simple English and say how do I sound better. Then we put that into templates. So there's a lot of things that we are looking to that. And sometimes to get people to adopt to AI is not easy. So I always think about gamification, always making it like simple level one. Have you ever like downloaded a game where it's so difficult and you feel I don't want to play this way, I keep losing. So I think same for AI as well. So when you keep doing it, I don't know, it doesn't give me the quality answers that I need, then you start giving up. So one of the things that we did was to expose people to Midjourney. So that's like the fun, but hey, type something and you can see a pictures coming out. Type something more specific so you can get better pictures. So people have fun with this kind of picture generation thing. You say, oh, that's what AI is about, just giving better prompts, then you get better and more specific answers. Then I also give a lot of my personal example as well. I send a lot of different prompts to my team. One of my personal example is like sometimes a marriage status goes not status marriage goes up and down in terms of the healthiness of it. So sometimes when I need help, I will ask for, hey, you're a marriage counselor, how would you help me? And I'll ask a question in a way that before you give me an answer, ask me some questions to understand my specific situation. Then after I answer those questions, then they will give me the answer. So those answer will be even more specific. So I think a lot of time we must explore, look out for channels who constantly promote different AI platforms, whether it's for design, saving time in video editing. Now we also integrate ChatGPT with our chatbot as well. We're developing that last week. And yeah, there's so many things that can shortcut, especially video editing, where you need to put captions on. So instead of doing like the entire caption, pause, edit caption, pause, edit caption, you can just AI does everything for you. Then you do the last 20% of making it more accurate. So I think there's so much potential that all entrepreneurs, all employees need to explore for AI. It's like the new internet.
All right. Well, that is going to wrap up our panel. I hope you guys learned something. Thank you so much for joining us, EJ and Vinita. And yes, I think some of the main takeaways are, okay, failure is not always a bad thing. It actually can be a good thing. And a lot of times, don't pass up the opportunity to use AI to further your innovation. And I think those are just a couple of the key takeaways that we learned today. But thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you. Nice meeting you all. Bye.
All right.
Thank you so much.